Welcome to the EOB Podcast, where we talk about the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I'm Ben No, and joining me is Sen Dong. So, Sen, welcome back to another podcast.
Yeah, and man, it's not looking good.
It's not looking good, mainly because what? Are we talking about the man-made disaster that are in theaters right now, or are we talking about the natural disasters?
Both.
Both? Okay, all right.
Good lead-in, Ben.
Yeah, so we have, I guess, three kind of widest releases last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said in the last podcast, I mean, there were pretty much no expectations for any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I said my projections were high, and they were.
So were mine. Yeah, our expectations were pretty low, but even both of our low expectations were surpassed by even lower figures.
Yeah, but then again, it's like in our own fashion, right? Because we didn't prepare for this thing. We didn't know that the Mayweather and McGregor fight was going on.
Yeah, McGregor
and then,
fight. Yeah.
Hurricane Henry, was it?
Not Henry, Harvey.
Harvey, okay, Hurricane Harvey wreaking havoc in Texas. So those two events, I guess, made a weak box office. The movies even weaker.
Yeah, both kind of made a weekend that's already not looking good to a disaster.
Right, we say that the studios just dump whatever they want out there because I guess there were like no expectations for these movies at all. I guess maybe they planned ahead, they saw ahead what was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I think they couldn't predict maybe Hurricane Harvey, but they knew that Mayweather and McGregor was going to be
McGregor.
Huge. Okay, McGregor. Okay, Conor. Where'd I get Conor from? Okay, McGregor. That fight was going to be huge. So pretty low box office overall. From top to bottom.
Earlier in the week, people couldn't predict that. Houston's going to be like pretty much underwater, almost the entire city. Those photos are pretty bad. I mean, you're seeing like submerged cars, and all you're seeing are the signs.
Yeah. That's just like one day, right? One day and all the water.
Yeah. It's like they had in a couple of days what the kind of rain that they usually get for the entire year. So wow, yeah, that city needs help.
And you know how this thing goes. It's gonna be long, like Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, I read a report. They say it's gonna be like one of those things that's gonna take a couple of years to recover from.
Yeah, I don't think you can recover. I'm like, there's people who lost their homes, their cars,
And apparently, I'm surprised. Like, insurance doesn't cover these kind of things for most of them. Insurance doesn't cover most of the kind of damage natural disaster like this causes.
I think they have the act of God kind of phrase in there that let them weasel out of these things. So it's gonna be messy down there. Okay, on a happier note, I guess, let's get to the box office, or what's there.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's happy about these figures.
No, but hey, we gotta go through anyway, get through it. So that means, I think this week's podcast is gonna be relatively short because I believe this week's movies are even gonna be worse than last week's movies.
Yeah, it depends on how much we digress. All right, let's head on.
Jump right in. Okay, number one, it's the Hitman's Bodyguard. It pulled in about 10 million in its second weekend. Domestic gross so far is about 39 million, and it hasn't opened overseas yet, so we don't have that figure. So it experienced a 53% drop off from the previous weekend. I guess. Oh no, it's pretty good because the budget's only 30 million.
Yeah, they had low expectations, and it's kind of doing just about there.
Right. To put this in perspective, right? I mean, the Hitman's Bodyguard, the number one movie for 2 weekends in a row. That's how bad the the movies in theaters are. I'm not saying anything bad about Hitman's Bodyguard, but it is the Hitman's Bodyguard, a movie with Samuel L. Jackson and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, looks like it might probably do 55 to 60 million, which is already twice its budget domestically. So it looks like, if you look at the budget, it's not bad. It's pretty good, solid.
Sure. But I'm saying, I mean, you
It's
wouldn't.
still a pretty weak 2 week weekend.
Yeah. It's kind of like a weak movie to kind of like lead, be on the top of the box office.
Yeah, and these are just estimates. I'm sure when the final figure comes in, it could be lower. We might not even reach 10 million.
Right.
So when a movie can top the box office, with single digit figures, single in the single digit, you have a pretty weak weekend. It kind of tells us what season we're in. We're in the weakest movie season of the year.
Yeah, like everyone's heading back to school. People, the money went into tuition. Books, clothes, whatever what have you, right?
Back
It's all
to
there.
school supplies, yeah.
Right. So just the theater just I guess just.
Well, people have more in their minds than watching movies like that.
No, sure, but not this week. I mean, it's always about the movies, really, but they just decided to trot out this week lineup of movies.
Yeah, there's a week lineup, and I'm sure there's also the back to school week, and they're probably thinking everyone's just too busy and too stressed out.
Maybe.
You know.
But if they release, I'm sure if they release a big movie here, it'll have a high box office.
Yeah.
But I think everyone's just like kind of winding down right now, kind of giving themselves a break from all these huge releases.
Yeah.
They're preparing for the winter months, right? For the award season.
Which we'll get to.
Sure. Okay, so moving on. Number 2, Annabelle Creation. That horror movie spin-off is a prequel to Annabelle, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I put in about 7.3 million over the weekend. About 53% drop off. Domestic gross is 77 million, budget's 15, so it's still doing pretty well, this Annabelle series. And it's a spin-off from The Conjuring.
Yeah, and the worldwide figure is even more impressive. It's already at 215 million on a 15 million budget. So huge profits for WB.
Right. A new line, new WB.
Yeah, new line going back to their roots. Making these cheapy genre films.
Right.
That was their bread and butter until they did the Lord of the Rings, which were great, but it kind of pushed them into a territory that eventually kind of bankrupt them.
They did okay. They did okay with the other movies outside of Lord of the Rings, which didn't do as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The Lord of the Rings kind of got their hopes up. Made them think that they're a big studio now, which rightfully so. But then they have a bunch of similarly huge budgeted films that didn't turn out as well, and that's why WB owns them now.
Right. So they make some bets that weren't Lord of the Rings, and
Yeah.
they lost.
Yeah.
And like you say, now they're part of WB.
Yeah. Well, they made other bets that were similar to Lord of the Rings, not realizing that, hey, Lord of the Rings is the kind of franchise that doesn't come often. Who was it? They did, which one did they take? Chronicles? No, not Narnia, but the other one. The Compass, the one with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, yeah. Golden Compass, I believe.
Yeah, the Golden Compass, yeah, which on big time.
And there was the other one, kind of like Road to Thapita or something like that. I forget. It was long ago, but they have some of these pricey special effects movies.
Yeah,
which didn't do that well, and like you said, and then the CEO got ousted. I believe the New Line was always with WB before, right? They just kind of like a indie arm, or actually this genre.
No, they started off like Lionsgate. They focused on mostly genre entertainment, mostly horror films, and they did really well, and because the budgets were really low and they were making huge profits, and eventually they did Lord of the Rings, and which was a huge blockbuster, huge franchise, and at that time they thought they were a big studio. They started investing hugely in these pricey franchises that didn't turn out as well. That ended up bombing, and they ran out of money, and WB snatched them up.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, they got lucky with Lord of the Rings because the rights were with one of the people there.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to one of last week's new releases. Debuting at number 3 is Leap. Did it expand it or was it always wide? Oh, it was always
No,
wide,
no, no,
right?
no. It was always wide, but it was released overseas, but
Oh, okay,
now it's
right.
just open here.
Yeah, it's a French animated feature. And our predictions were around here, right?
Well, your prediction were there. I mean, you were kind of right on. You said 5 million. I said 8 to 10.
I was right on.
Yeah. You were right there.
You said how much?
8 to 10.
Oh, 8 to 10. Okay. Well, we were both low. Yeah.
Sure. But I'm just saying, without the fight, without the hurricane, it might be 8 to 10.
Okay. You have an
No.
you have an excuse.
Right. But yeah, 5 million is about where you had it, and I said, yeah, you probably right, and you were, and I said this movie would probably work better as a live action, like a teen movie, a teen romance movie. But yeah, again, they did this as an animation, and not their fault really, right? It's just that this is really a French movie that's kind of how you say it, translated or dubbed over into English. And released here. So there you go.
Right. It seemed like it did really well in France because it's already made 75 million in the foreign markets, and I'm thinking most of it is probably from France. Looking at the numbers at France it's only 15 million, so it did pretty good overseas in general overall.
Yeah, I think it was like 15 million the last time we looked at it.
Yeah.
Last Monday, so it could be higher now.
Right.
But it's like it really is a French movie. And then you could see that it's the numbers are kind of big in Europe as well, like United Kingdoms, Switzerland,
right.
Spain.
Yeah, just
not
not
Switzerland, but Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not translated over to the U.S.
Well, the US are spoiled with the Pixar, the DreamWorks, the
right.
Illumination, etc. Those kind of movies.
Right.
That's why I'm saying this one is kind of like in an odd place because it's.
We're used to seeing these kind of movies in live action form, I guess.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Well, let's move along to number 4, which is Wind River. It added more theaters, over 1,000 theaters, and pulled in about 4.4 million over the weekend. Budget's only 11 million, and so far it grossed 9 million, or nearly 10 million.
Yeah, which is not bad considering it's an indie film. It has a lot of stars though. I mean, I guess it is solid. The expansion is solid. The reviews are great, 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like you said, it's one of these films that are geared towards the award season and it's getting expanded. I think that's not bad.
Yeah, it's an indie movie expanded, and it made more money, I guess, because of its expansion. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it made number 4 because, like I said, the weak lineup.
Yeah, and we'll see how well it holds up in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that this is one of those movies that's gonna have like steady business. It's gonna get that same amount for a couple of weeks until it leaves theaters.
Yeah. All right. And number 5 is Logan Lucky, that Steven Soderbergh film that stars ensemble, just like Wind River, except in relative terms, it's not doing as well. I mean, it starred big name actors like Daniel Craig, Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Seth MacFarlane, Hilary Swank, Katie Holmes, and ensemble that we were saying last week. We'll see how well it holds up because the reviews were decent too, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
yes.
90, really good. The reviews are really good, 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, and at 43% drop off is it made 4.4 million over the weekend. 43% drop off. I mean, for a film like this, if it had any legs, it would have held up better. And after 2 weeks of release, it has only done 15 million on a budget of 29 million. So not looking good.
Yeah, not looking good. And the title, right? I mean, we might have been the lexicon. I probably said Lucky Logan before. It's actually Logan Lucky.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, Logan Lucky?
Yeah. The title's Logan Lucky, but I probably said Lucky Logan before. So.
Okay.
Anyway. But if you look at this movie, it's kind of have a lot of similarity to Haywire, that other Steven Soderbergh movie with Gina Carano. Channing Tatum, even McGregor is actually an action movie as well. This one is more of an action thriller, right? I guess it's kind of same as the other one, and that one didn't do as well too, right? It opened at around 8 million, and then it only went on to gross about 19 million domestic.
Right.
So
right.
I think this movie is kind of following along the same line, even though it's actually nearing the Haywire's number. But it's still going to be a lowish figure. It's kind of just kind of like Haywire, like lots of stars, a lot of well-known people, renowned director, but just doesn't hit it off with the audience. I mean, this is kind of like Soderbergh's movies. Like his movies are more for like people who make films.
Well, Haywire I thought did not bad because it stars Gina Carano.
I think Carano.
Yeah, Carano. Yeah. And the other guys are just playing small parts. So for that one, because it was Steven Soderbergh making a martial arts movie pretty much, a martial arts thriller starring a woman. It did decent. The reviews were decent in relative terms. That was decent. It wasn't like it wasn't a huge hit. I think it did kind of at a spot where some people were thinking it was gonna do, starring an unknown. But I think Lucky Logan should have done better with all
Logan
these,
Lucky.
Logan Lucky. Yeah,
Yes.
Logan Lucky should have done better with all these A-list stars.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if you look at the movie, right? So it's a story. It's about this. I guess it takes place where in the South, wherever where the country hicks, right? Trying to rob a bank or whatever, or wherever there's money. And like I say, all these characters playing again, characters that they're not known for, they're not familiar with, I guess. So it's kind of odd seeing them, playing out of character, sort of, so to speak.
Yeah, for some reason, despite great reviews, it's not catching on.
I guess it's like one of these stories where people are not that interested in. Oh, it's not like another heist movie, except it's directed by Soderbergh and starring all these people.
Yeah, or maybe who knows? Maybe like some of them said it is the marketing. Like I didn't even know it's opening for film. For film directed by Steven Soderbergh and starring all these stars. You would think that it would have a higher profile.
Well, Soderbergh is not like Nolan, right?
Well, but Nolan, you knew Dunkirk was coming. I mean, you knew that film was coming a long time ago.
Okay.
But Logan Lucky, I didn't know it was coming until we did our podcast.
Well, sure, but I'm saying
I haven't seen any trailers on TV either. For a film with all these stars, that's opening wide. You would think like at least watching the local news, you would see a trailer. So maybe it is like some of the pundits said, hey, it was his decision to not put a lot of money into the marketing and just letting the story and the actors and everything else, letting word of mouth carry it.
I just don't know. Look. No. I mean, yeah, once or twice, yeah. But if you look through all his history, his filmography is kind of full of movies like these.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not just once or twice. It's like every once in a while, or more often than not, you're gonna get these low takes. Like Solaris with George Clooney, right? That's a huge sci-fi movie.
Yeah, that was a huge. That was a dud, though. That was marketed.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just.
Yeah, but at least they, with that one, they marketed. Like people knew it was coming. Like they put money into marketing the film. But
right. But
I'm saying
anyway,
Logan Lucky, it didn't seem like they marketed much. Like even Sci-FX was kind of marketed. They did, okay. Haywire wasn't bad. It stars an unknown. Contagion, they marketed that film.
Right. But what I'm saying is, it's not all marketing. It could be his films.
It could just be. All
right. Speaking of Nolan, number 6, Dunkirk. It pulled in nearly 4 million over the weekend. Drop off is about 40% from its previous weekend. Domestic gross is 172 million, and worldwide is at 412.
Yeah, it continues to do well. Continues to roll on the worldwide level. And speaking of huge numbers, at number 7, Spider-Man: Homecoming pulled in about 2.7 million. Not huge, but the cumulative gross is pretty big. It's at 319 domestic, and worldwide is at 737 million, and it still hasn't opened in China yet. In China and Japan, right?
Yeah, I don't see the numbers here.
Oh, Japan. Okay, it opened in Japan, but it hasn't opened in China yet, and could be huge in China.
Okay.
Could open. It could add in another 100 or 200 million in
Yeah, if
China.
it opens in China, it's gonna be huge, right?
Yeah.
All right. Number 8, surprisingly,
Yeah.
speaking of Mayweather and McGregor,
Yeah.
they actually show this movie, or not movie, but their fight in theaters on a Saturday.
Yeah. I think they were charging like $20 each, and this is good. This is like it was only at that time slot, and it pulled in 2.6 million. The theater average is like 5,000, but that's kind of deflated because it's only in one time slot. It was a live event. It was only showing at that one time slot, and it was able to do 2.6 million.
Right, and this is actually the first time I've been looking at box office where I see a live event that making the top 10.
Yeah.
And it's only, like you say, only one time slot, one show time, one day.
Right. So pretty impressive.
Right.
Even though a lot of these big fans of boxing were calling it a joke and a circus. But apparently, from what I read, the fight turned out to be way better than what people had expecting. People were expecting McGregor to get knocked out in like 10 seconds, but he ended up winning like the first 3 rounds from most judges, and eventually got technically knocked out by Mayweather on the 10th round. So
Yeah, but I also read that that's actually Mayweather's game. He just like outbox you and
Yeah.
and go to a decision at the end of the round, and they try to outlast you, and that's what he
Yeah.
did. He outlasted McGregor. I think he ran out of energy in the early
Yeah.
rounds. He
Yeah.
used up
Yeah.
all his energy.
Yeah, because in these MMA fights, they don't last that long. They don't go by rounds, right? They just let them fight, and whoever
Well, they
wins
have a
wins.
time. They have a time. I think it's like either 3 minutes or so.
Per round or what?
I'm not sure about per round. Yeah. I think it's per round. I think about. I'm not exactly sure about the time, but they do have
Yeah,
like
because
this
it
one.
used to be
Yeah.
they just fight until they get until the ref someone does something illegal and the referee comes and break them up. But I haven't seen any rounds though. I'm not sure if there were any rounds. I
Oh,
think they
maybe
just
there are no rounds. Maybe there are no rounds
yeah
in MMA.
yeah. So
Maybe they just like have a like I think 25 minutes match, I believe.
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't watch that much of it, but I watched during the early when the UFC was just developing.
Yeah, but in any case, right? Mayweather, 40-year-old, McGregor, about 20 something or
Yeah,
so.
yeah, 30,
Yeah,
almost 30. Yeah.
right? But Mayweather is old in athlete's term.
Yeah, and he's a guy, he's an MMA fighter entering the boxing ring, so everyone was, but these big boxing names are calling it a joke and a stunt and a
Which
circus,
is
and
kind of right.
you
I
know,
mean, McGregor is playing by boxing rules, and he's not used to going that long. And
well,
even though
not just that, he's a mixed martial artist. He, uses everything. He's not a full-time boxer.
yeah, exactly. I mean, he a lot of his weapons he can use,
Yeah,
and Mayweather, even though is not in
Mayweather
his
was a
prime
career
anymore.
boxer. Yeah,
Yeah, and although he's 40-year-old, like old in athlete's term, right?
yeah.
He still have a lot of experience.
Yeah, so it's not. I mean, everyone's like, yeah, if Mayweather and McGregor fought in an MMA match, McGregor would win. In a boxing match, of course, Mayweather would win.
Sure. Like the top fighter in each respective categories would win their respective sports.
Yeah, so it wasn't a fair fight, and people were just didn't have very high expectations for McGregor. But the fact that he lasted 10 rounds, people were like, whoa, turned out better than
Wow.
they expected.
Well, I think if I fought Mayweather, I probably would last 10 rounds too. No, that's the thing. That's his thing. Like, that's his fights, right? He just out go for points. So anyway, that's Mayweather versus McGregor, number 8 spot, which is kind of rare feat.
All right, speaking of fights, not as big as Mayweather versus McGregor. At number 9 is Birth of the Dragon. It kind of focuses at a certain point of Bruce Lee's life. At the time, he had an open door policy, a policy of inclusion. He taught everyone who wanted to be taught martial arts. but the traditionalists, the kung fu traditionalists, the sifus, the masters, didn't want to teach foreigners. So then they sent out this guy named Wong Jack Yan to fight Bruce Lee, and if Bruce Lee loses, he had to close down his schools. And I guess if he wins, he can continue to teach foreigners martial arts. So in a way, it's another Mayweather versus McGregor. Well, not really, but you have the old versus the new, the traditionalists versus, but whatever. Anyway, Birth of the Dragon. There was it received a lot of bad publicity because of the whitewashing thing. It's a movie about Bruce Lee, and they introduced it by framing it from a Caucasian's perspective. So it got a lot of whitewashing controversy, and and it did 2.5 million, which is a lot lower than what you and I were predicting.
Yes, and what we were predicting. Well, no, we both were wrong. I mean, we both were off. I said 8 to 10, and you said 6 to 8.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought there would be some martial arts fan out there turning out for this one, and it seems to hit the demographics that would go for these type of movies, and it is like a Bruce Lee movie, right?
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of taking a lot of liberties with his backstory.
Plus, it didn't. Mayweather. Some of his fans are probably watching on Saturday, watching Mayweather versus McGregor. At the same time, it also didn't have the blessing of Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon Lee. She has been on a campaign to tell people not to watch this film. It has the whitewashing controversy and poor reviews too. So all three of that working against it.
Sure. Like maybe it just wasn't a very good movie in the first place.
Yeah, 21% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You're right, and the lead star, like we said in the previous podcast, Philip Ng, he's not that big here. So nobody know about him outside of some, these people who watch these Asian films.
Well, in Hong Kong, he's been mostly a fight choreographer. He anchored a film by himself once upon a time in Shanghai, which I thought was actually one of the better martial arts movies of that year. But even then, it didn't do that well at the box office. But on the martial arts level, he's pretty good. I think if you find the right movie for him, he can do pretty well.
Oh, maybe, but like I said, he just doesn't have that leading man face. He could play like bit characters. I mean, he could side characters. Supporting characters.
Let's put it this way: Bruce Lee, when he first tried to be a movie star in Hong Kong, that's what most of the executives back there said about him. He's like, he doesn't have leading man looks back then, and I don't think a lot of martial artists. I mean, a lot of action stars are considered good looking. I don't think people consider. I mean, some, but I don't think people consider. Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, your traditional GQ models, right?
I think they look pretty good.
Well, I don't know. I think a lot for action stars, I don't think looks. I don't think looks is a big category. Like Jackie Chan looks pretty. He's pretty funny looking. Like he has a big nose and everything.
Yeah.
So for an action star, I think you just have to be believable that you can actually beat a bunch of people up, or believable in your toughness.
Okay, maybe he just doesn't have that charisma to draw people in to watch his stuff.
Could be. I mean, he's relatively young in his career though.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, we'll see. But on a technical level, on a skills level, I'm pretty impressed by what I've seen of him so far. In the movies I've seen, like Once Upon a Time in Shanghai, he has small roles in other films, and on a action fan level, I thought he's pretty good. One of these up and comers.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying he's not good in like on the technical level, on the technical stuff, but maybe I should say maybe he just haven't found that right part yet. And remember Donnie Yen, right? For a time he was floundering as well.
He was flounder for a long time. He was under the shadow of not just Jackie Chan but also Jet Li. And it wasn't until both of them have became old.
Right.
And Jet Li just couldn't do martial arts movies anymore because of his health issues. And that's when Donnie Yen eventually emerged. And he eventually emerged with Sammo Hung as a fight choreographer, in the Ip Man films.
Right.
And, it looks like Wu Jing, who had been written off a long time ago, he made a bunch of movies. But it wasn't until he threatened to retire because, he had a broken leg from one of his films. And he's like, this is it. I can't do action movies anymore. And then people went to see both his ensuing movies, and both of them became huge hits. And then he made a sequel to one of them, Wolf Warrior 2, and it became the highest grossing movie in China ever. Made over 800 million already.
I know, but I haven't seen the movie, but I just don't think that's an actually good action movie. But I guess there's a point
from what people have seen, it's a decent action movie in terms of action filmmaking. It's one of those that they feel like, because it's from the directors of the Captain America films. Well, they didn't direct it, but they were consulted, and I think they all started a company that co-financed it, and so they used their Hollywood expertise in stunts and Hollywood filmmaking, and along with the Hong Kong/China filmmaking. And people who've seen it said it's a good marriage of the two, and it has that Hollywood craftsmanship that a lot of Chinese people don't really see in Chinese films.
Oh, okay. All right. So, which unfortunately for that movie, for Wolf Warrior 2, it's not released here. So, as you said,
only in like some, in places with very limited. I think it's like 20 screens or something, and it's made about 3 million on 20 screens, which is decent.
Right. But in any case, maybe they don't want it to release it that wide, maybe because of the political environment. Who knows? But, again, with overseas films, especially films from Asia, if they want to make some money here, they should, kind of release it close to, the opening date worldwide.
Oh, they did.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. But, on 20 screens, you can only do so much. And 3 million off of 20 screens and counting is pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's Birth of the Dragons, which we diverge into Wolf Warrior 2. It's probably a better movie. Movie than Birth of the Dragon.
But if you're talking about surprise hits of the year, I mean, in the US, people are talking about, Wonder Woman, which is good. But on a single territory perspective, is, Wolf Warrior 2 did over 800 million in China. Second highest grossing film on a single territory basis, only beaten by The Force Awakens.
Yeah, but there, I mean, Warcraft did good too.
Yeah, Warcraft did 200 million, but
so
not many. But not many films. 800 million is a lot anywhere.
Right. Especially in just one territory. Right?
Yeah, and it's not one of those things that is achieved on a regular basis.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Yeah. Birth of the Dragon is somehow related to Wolf Warrior 2.
Yeah, they'll probably help it in association.
Okay, right. Okay. All right, let's round out the top 10 with the Emoji Movie. It pulled in about 2.4 million over the weekend. Experienced a 47% drop off. Domestic gross is 76 million. Worldwide, it's only 144 million. Budget's only 50. Yeah,
the crucial word of your what you just said is only, because the budget's only 50 million, and it did nearly 3 times that worldwide, which is pretty solid, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, remember, this is a movie that no one asked for.
Yeah, that people thought was ridiculous.
Yes, I still think it's ridiculous, but hey.
Score 8% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm. And
did 3 times its budget. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Did 3 times its budget. Pretty good.
Right.
On a financial level.
Right. But remember, 50 million is the magic number or thing around there.
Yeah.
Okay, and of note is one of the other new releases, All Saints. It pulled in about 1.5 million, which is kind of about where we had it, right? We said 1 to 2.
Oh yeah, is that
one? No. We said about 2 million.
Yeah.
So it's about there. Faith-based film.
Yeah. The other thing of note is Wonder Woman crossed 800 million worldwide. So I guess it's past Suicide Squad.
Sure. And there's some trash talking between James Cameron and the director, so that's gonna help it
And
somewhat,
Patty Jenkins,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, Patty
Yep.
Jenkins, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have another live event film with Jenkins versus Cameron.
Cameron, yeah.
One night only, pay-per-view.
Right.
Anyway, the trash talking can only help Wonder Woman. So there you go.
Right.
All right, so that's it for the top 10. How about we move on to the new releases this weekend or not? Because really, there's really nothing. So they just don't even try anymore, right? They don't even try.
Yeah.
We have a movie called Tulip Fever.
Opening in about 700 theaters?
About 600, and then the re-release of Close Encounter of the Third Kind for its 40th anniversary.
Right.
That is in about 700 theaters.
Right.
Yeah, so that's it.
All right. So should we just go with Tulip Fever?
Sure.
Since it's the only new film.
Yeah, Tulip Fever is the new release. It's not, re-release. Stars Alicia Vikander, Dane DeHaan again.
Yeah.
That guy. He's in all these movies, but not big. Christopher Watts.
He was in Valerian, right?
Yes.
And also from Valerian is
Cara
Delevingne.
Yeah.
Delevingne. But this stars a bunch of pretty very good actors. Christopher Waltz has Zach Galifianakis. Who else? Oh, Judy Dench.
Jack O'Connell, Tom Hollander. So yeah, a lot of actors, good actors.
Yeah. Speaking of the Oscar season.
Yeah. So I guess Vikander played the wife of a noble, a rich guy, who wants to elope with a painter.
Yeah. So I guess the rich guy bought her, right? Bought her. She was an orphan, and he bought her, and this is one of those arranged marriages. He paid money for her, and he married her.
I guess, or
something like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused there because I watched the trailer. I don't know if Vikander was bought or was it the Levine who was bought. In any case,
I think Vikander was bought.
Okay, all right. So they're both owned by this rich old guy, and because he's rich, he doesn't want anyone to make off with his property, right? And of course, this takes place in the backdrop of the tulip bubble that's going on at the time.
Okay, flower.
Yeah, these bulbs, these flower bulbs cost a lot of money, guys. So it's kind of like the real estate market bubble.
All right. From the synopsis, what happened was this rich guy hired a painter to paint a picture of him and Alicia Vikander, and then of course the painter eventually develops a relationship with Vikander, and steamy stuff happens, and then they try to elope, and they're using, according to the synopsis, they're trying to use the tulip boat market. I guess the painter's gonna try to sell enough of those things to make enough money for the two of them to elope. I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I mean, the trailer's very steamy and stuff. So that's what they're selling.
Yeah, this movie should be a comedy, but somehow it's this serious drama.
Yeah, with all these dramatic, Oscar-winning dramatic actors. So what are you thinking?
What's going on? Labor Day weekend coming along. I don't see much
Hurricane
here.
Harvey.
Yeah, I don't see much here, so I'm gonna go low.
How
and it's
low?
only released in 600 theaters too, right?
Yeah.
So 1 million or less.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, 1 million or two. What do you think of the re-release though? Encounters of the Third Kind.
The re-release, I don't see
only
that
700
doing that
theaters.
well
Yeah.
either.
It's not like Star Wars. That's the thing. So it might be one of those another 1 million or two type of deals.
Yeah, look, Terminator Judgment Day 2 was re-released last weekend.
In 3D, right?
Yeah, in 3D.
And it only did
582K.
Oh, on how many screens?
About 386.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not good.
So again, I don't see this doing that well either, because
Yeah,
this has already been 40 years. They might have spruced things up a bit, but
yeah,
I think people just have moved on, unless people really wanted to watch this movie in theaters again.
yeah. Plus, if the home theater system improvements nowadays, people would probably just flip out the Blu-ray and watch it, in the comforts of their own home.
Right? You can rent it online.
Yeah, gonna be a boring weekend in terms of movies.
Okay, so this one is gonna be, I don't know, I guess similar to Terminator Judgment Day 2, about in the 100K or so range, I think, or
Oh, you think?
I don't
Yeah,
know,
probably. Yeah.
700
Well,
theaters.
yeah, maybe a million or less. Yeah, agree with you. Probably not even a million.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have the 3D factor. Well, 3D is not a selling point anymore. It used to be, you attach 3D to it. It's at least a selling point. At least like, well, there's something new with it. But now, we're looking at 3D as cheap 3D. We're not going for that that marketing trick again.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Terminator 2, it's I kind of want to watch Terminator 2 again, right? But for
Yeah,
Close Encounter of the Third Kind, maybe not.
yeah, right.
Okay, so Labor Day weekend. So that's why studios just gave up for this weekend.
Yeah,
So not much more we can say.
yeah. We'll see how low the figures are.
Yeah, except that it'll pick up again next week. Next week, where when it actually came out, I thought it would be this weekend, but it's actually
Yeah,
the next weekend.
next weekend. Okay.
Yeah. So until then, stay dry.
Yeah, and do what you can for Hurricane Harvey for Houston.
Yep, or the people there. I don't think
Yeah,
we can do anything against Hurricane Harvey,
yeah,
but yeah. And
yeah.
except
Those
throw your fist
pictures
at it
are
and shout.
yeah, those pictures are pretty dramatic.
Yeah,
It's
this
like the whole
all
city
that water.
underwater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oof.
So yeah. All right. See you next weekend.
Yeah. See you guys next weekend.